Oh, hello. Welcome back. So I'm going to give you a quick recap of day one because day one was very interesting. So I just want to tell you, just quick disclaimer, this is my interpretation of what happened today. Okay, this is my opinion. I have not been influenced by any video. This is my opinion. I've watched most of it. Hello, the Fox. I found it to be very interesting. Now, there is only one defence Google is running, and that's the defence that came in after the 1st of July. So essentially from whenever it was until the 30th of June, they've got no defence. Now, the reason why they've had to drop those defences is to do with this thing called parliamentary privilege, because some stuff that Bruz Barilaro said in Parliament can't be questioned about. Essentially, the whole case, bar one, has fallen apart. So Google is saying, yes, there was defamatory stuff, because they can't defend it unless we can deal with the stuff that was said in Parliament, because we can't. So that's where that's come. So Google is at the moment trying to mitigate that loss. So it started off with Chrysanthi. Chrysanthi was very concerned at the start that it was being live streamed and wanted the judge to make orders regarding screenshotting and recording. She starts off by saying today was the International Day of Racial Discrimination, and it was rather fitting that a hearing that was going to be on damages, mainly aggravated damages, was coming to court, because Google was part of a violent and racist smear campaign that drove Barilaro out of public office. Yes, that is a direct quote. And that Google has done nothing about it because the videos still remain. She then goes into about his background, how he comes from an immigrant family, hard worker, volunteer at the soccer club. Talked about his election. He was, owned a business, was married for 26 years. And then she goes on to Jordan Shanks, whom she states was a former male model, never been a journalist and can't be called a journalist and has no credentials to be called a journalist, made a video that includes racist slurs, and that Mr. Shanks, and these are some big allegations that she stated here, that Mr. Shanks hated Barilaro. And then she went and gave a background of Google that owns YouTube, and that YouTube should be treated no differently to the mass media, Channel 9 or the ABC, and question Wikipedia, which I thought was a bit is the second most viewed website, YouTube, behind Google itself. She then reiterates that Shanks hates Bruz Barilaro, and she wants to show the Bruz video, and she's concerned that the judge may be offended by the swearing. And she essentially states that Barilaro was seriously hurt by the video, has hurt feelings, and he can't escape that hurt. And no rational person would find the video anything but ridiculous. So I'm obviously not a rational person. The video was dripping with hatred and malice. Rational people at Google watched it and thought that there was nothing wrong with it. Now, when they showed the video, it actually states that Friendly Doherty's frequently mocks the Premier and Deputy Premier. That's a big word. His Honour had his poker face on because the camera was on him while he's watching the video. I'm certain, though I can't be sure. I did see a couple of smirks a couple of times, but he can't. So once the video finishes, his barrister says she can't see why Google didn't find that video offensive and racist and against their own community guidelines. that Google apparently stated that the articles were backed up. A reasonable person would pause the video and see the articles don't back up what he was saying. So as you know, I actually just did a video where I went through and I paused. I took the screenshots of the relevant and we looked at the news articles. So I did do it, and I'm sorry, what I saw doesn't make that statement true. Then his barrister made a big song and dance about Google not doing their own Google search to find articles, to see where the articles. Google did not do a Google search, and or they did not read the full articles to find that the articles don't support the scandalous allegations. Yes, all the big words that were out. So one of those that she stated was the Royal Commission in Water. But we know that from the reports that we read on my video that he said that he agreed to one and then he backtracked. But anyway, and that the video Bruz was viewed by hundreds of thousands of people. So she stated here 145,845 between 24th of December and the 30th of June, and 103,000 from the 1st of July 2021 until it was edited. And since it was edited, there's been 100,000 views. Now, the other thing that they commented on was all the comments. That even though the video has been amended and edited, that none of the comments have been removed. And there was 5,420 comments before the video entered. And the other thing that she stated was the allegation about the fact he must be corrupt because he has this second home. Again, she liked to talk about reasonable or sensible person, because a lot of these have to deal with the reasonable test. Would a reasonable person looking at this think X, Y, Z? So she said any reasonable person would find it ridiculous that he would be corrupt because he had a second home. That public servant, that to think that he would be living off a public servant's wage when he had business, he could have got inheritance, he could have money from his previous business. His wife could be earning money, and she talked about the fact that she used Malcolm Turnbull as an example and Kevin Rudd as an example, but those were both prime ministers. So she keeps talking about sensible and reasonable person, sensible and reasonable person, sensible and reasonable person. So then she started doing a chronological, so sort of the videos were seen by Bruz a few weeks after they'd aired. There was complaints on the 1st to the 12th, and a video was removed. The video that was removed was actually the video about the allegations about, she even mentioned the allegations about the fact he was having an affair, which we since know has some plausibility to it, where it was Google said that it was just gossip. Well, okay. The other thing that they've complained about was that it took 2 weeks to review the video. It could have been done in 2 weeks. Again, my opinion. Okay. I'm sort of getting the picture or the feeling that Barilaro expected special treatment, that he's complained that he didn't like a video and he wanted immediate action. Anybody that has complained about a video, and we've all complained about videos, knows there's a procedure that has to be followed, and it takes weeks. I wonder how many videos does YouTube have to go through every single day or have to manually review? Because this is a manual review. So they said it took 2 weeks. Well, apparently they said it should have been done quicker. Then it's interesting because then Barilaro's barrister went on and talked about the videos that have been subsequently done. Now, these aren't part of the allegations, but she's saying that they mocked and undermined the settlement. 320,000 views were on the one that Shanks talked about, settlement. And And she also said that Shanks's lawyers were quoting that not one video had been removed and that he was claiming victory. The other one that she's complained about is the one where the allegations about the dating profile. So she's essentially stating that even though that there's still videos being made up of about Barilaro, there was there had been settlement talks. So the reason why they've got the hearing at the moment is that there is settlement talks. So then the barrister decides that she wants to go right through the whole community guidelines and pull out every community guideline that is breached. Every single one. And that took a while. And then she said, really, this is just an assessment of damages. He deserves to be vindicated. And they want an award at the top of the range. And so then they had the reputation witnesses come in, which was really, really interesting because not one of the witnesses actually talked about the fact that his reputation where he lived or with his people or with his associates diminished somewhat. They all said that the people in the area thought the videos were vile and didn't believe it. The Deputy Nationals leader said, well, some of them used it as bait, you know, to egg him on in Parliament, but that's part of politics. It's really interesting. But anyway, this is what's really interesting because he was really complaining about now, don't forget the video that was shown in court was also the video where he talked and he called Helen Dalton a disgusting human. Now, Helen Dalton actually retweeted me. So Hugh Remington posted an update about, you know, we'll go to here. Hugh Remington. John Barilaro may have settled his legal case against you, but he's suing Google, saying he was driven out of politics by hateful comments from his videos. Feared sexual and physical violence incited by YouTube videos. This is the thing. I've never, to such a degree, it was instrumental in his decision to quit politics. He is essentially saying that these videos are the reasons why he left politics. Yes. But anyway, so he's talking about, oh no, I'd love Helen Dalton to go as a character witness. Anyway, I think they've done that. Anyway, so I've gone back to Helen Dalton. Have I gone back to Helen Dalton? No, I haven't. Helen Dalton, actually, let me go back here. So when they were talking about, you know, all these, you know, how his feelings were hurt by these comments that were made about his integrity. So to Hugh Remington, this is what I tweeted. This is what I said. This is what I, he was okay calling Helen Dalton a disgusting human, yet someone questions him and he doesn't like it. There's been a couple of replies. Says, that's bar liar. Sexual and physical violence does not sound like real fears. It sounds like lawyer talk. And I have watched the Friendly Geordies videos about John Barilaro. Public humiliation, maybe, but that was because of his own actions, which Jordan Shanks as a journalist exposed. And I'd say politician talk. And then this was the article we looked at the other day. But Helen Dalton actually retweeted it. So it was retweeted by Helen Dalton, which I'm really proud about. Because this is her. See, it says Helen Dalton MP retweeted. She retweeted me. Anyway, she's just posted this. John Barilaro said Friendly Geordies is an individual who is, on social media, an abusive individual. All he does is bully people online. And then she says, does he remember this? Watch this.
The Deputy Premier has labelled the member for Murray, Helen Dalton, a disgusting human in a stunning Twitter rant. Ms Dalton questioned John Barilaro's decision to withdraw from the race for the federal seat of Eden Monero. Barilaro's response was brutal. Helen, you are a disgusting human, he posted. Upper House MP West Fang then chimed in, labelling Ms Dalton the mean girl from school.
So there you go. He can give it. It would seem like he can't take it. So as I said, so at the moment, it looks like it's going to be damages. So we don't know to what extent his honour is going to do. But Google still has to have their witnesses, and they still have to do a cross-examination of Barilaro. So I think that's all happening tomorrow, because I went away and I came back and it was in the German, and it was bizarre. So it is actually listed on the federal court site. If you go to the federal court website, I'll show you where that is. And I'm only on here for a very short time because I've got to go shortly. Oh, always so busy. So I'll show you where it is. So and then you can all watch. We can all watch together. Right. So we've got daily court list. So you click on view all lists. Well, you can choose the state. I just do it this way. And here it is. Federal court tomorrow, 21st of March. Justice Res, 10:15, hearing by video conference. And you can select that and just put that in a browser and that will open up. They've also got the Ben Robert Smith case, which is also via video. This is the one that's really interesting, that I'm Tegan George versus Network 10. Tegan George versus Network 10 is a bullying claim that involves Peter Van Olsing. Yes, that one's been kept quiet too. But anyway. So let's hope Google is watching your videos. They might get ideas. Look, unfortunately, they would have had to have submitted all their arguments. They can't change anything now. As I said, it looks like Google's going to pay. Cough up. My concern is, and this is part of the stuff, is there has to be. Will I cover this? I'm covering it as much as I can. My concern about this is that, to me, if, depending on how this goes, it's going to be a speech issue here. You know, it's not as if Shanks has just pulled out a whole pile of allegations. And the Fox says, my concern is it's giving the politicians a free run. Yes. Well, it means then Dutton can sue Geordies for his video, even though it backs up every allegation that Shanks made, he backed up. As I showed in my previous video, there were questions about that. And in my opinion, what the shooters, farmers and fishers wrote on their website as headings for Barilaro were a lot more serious than that. But to say that he was wildly racist and the thing is, we know it's satire. So that's just my little bit of a rant. But yes, it was day one. It's down for 10 days. I mean, Barilaro's lawyers already complained about having to put up all this money for a 10-day trial, and the Justice Res said, well, he'll get it back. If it doesn't go 10 days, he gets his money back plus costs. So we know that there is going to be amount paid. I agree to the Fox. If the politician wants to sue, drop parliamentary privilege. Let's make it a fair fight. Let's make it a fair fight. But as I said, I took up my previous video. I took up the challenge from Barilaro's lawyer, and I went through Jordan Shanks. Yes, I went through one video. And I paused the screenshots, reread the screenshots, and in a couple of cases, I went and I found the original article. So, for me, if the other thing that came out from this is that his former deputy chief of staff came on and started crying about all the hurt and everything that was going on. But he said a couple of things very interesting. he said after the videos, local journalists were starting to sniff around. Hello. People are starting to ask questions. So it would seem like that video got people thinking, and people started to do their own research to see if there was any truth to the videos. And they were asking questions. Hey, Bruz, did you really forget to declare the fact you had an Airbnb when you were doing this case? Hey, Bruz, did you really forget to do this? One of the witnesses, which was stopped, he was stopped. The Google lawyer was stopped questioning due to an objection, but he was asking the former deputy chief of staff whether he'd heard about all of these investigations. Google was trying to show that Bruz was trying to destroy his own reputation because he was getting mixed up in these questionable activities. You know, the oyster farming. There was a please explain from that. We've got the documents, the articles. You know, the water irrigation. How much paid? This whole thing sounds quick. I don't know, Terry. This is the thing. Yes, I don't know whether you can get the Hansards. I would have thought so, but they can't be. They're not admissible in court, from my understanding. I don't know. I don't know how parliamentary privilege works. So, yeah, we know that there, and we know even now that there's ICAC could be looking into him at the moment over questionable activities. That's got nothing to do with the Shanks videos. That's got something to do with his actions. I was actually waiting for them to state, because, like, apparently, allegedly, and he got very depressed, and he talked about harming himself, which I find to be really terrible. However, I don't think a video from a YouTuber that only had 300,000 views could have really caused that. I just have issues with that. It may have got people questioning and looking into things. The other thing is, I was waiting for the fact that his marriage had broken up, and about the affair. I'm waiting for those two things to be pinned on these videos as well, because essentially everything that has happened in Barilaro's career from the time those videos have been released and all the scrutiny he's been under has been the fault of Friendly Geordies, is essentially what's being stated in court. Friendly Geordies and Google. That's essentially what they're saying. Which for me is a very big Jean, why would, because to defend, they have to be able to question him on things he said in Parliament, Jean. And the judges said no, he's not going to allow that. So Google has to pay because their defences are stuffed. Hi, Kina. Hello, everyone that's just come in. I'm sorry. I've just not been looking at chat very much. Only because I was just trying to. Who else came in? Terry C. So basically, he could, yes. Why Google pay and set precedents? Yeah, that's really what could happen. Now, here is something else. He did take it down. Right, then Friendly Geordies also was talking about, because I didn't see, I had internet. Yeah, Google can't win while Bruz has parliamentary privilege. Google, I mean, the reason why Shanks would have also settled is because he couldn't win due to parliamentary privilege. So he wrote, Bruz current video currently being played in Federal Court of Australia. Barilaro's barrister, Sue Chrysanthu SC, is now complaining about the Bruz internal video because it mentioned her instructing solicitor. I thought the trial was about a politician's hurt feelings, not his lawyer's feelings as well. always worth sharing this passage from the Primary Wars, in which I interviewed both Jordan and Barilaro. The paragraph lays out clearly the difference between gratuitous racism and targeted mocking of a man's self-image. So let's have a look at this. It's pretty much pistols at dawn between Barilaro and Shakes now. You might even say it's pizzas at dawn, and you might even go so far to surmise Shanks reckons Barilaro can go focaccia himself. And if you think those gratuitous Italian cultural references are in bad taste, you've probably got a point. However, if you feel that Shanks is straying into racist territory by lampooning the man-born Giovanni Dominic Barilaro in Queanbeyan in 1971, the son of Calabrian immigrants, consider this. Shanks is not mocking Barilaro's ethnicity for its own sake. He styled himself as Giovanni when he needs to be, as a bushy when he needs to be, he says, but there's nothing bush about him at all. He's got much more at home in Rushcutters Bay than in Cooma. Nothing about him rings bush. So this was about a book about the cultural wars. This video, the video Google removed, is still up via another person's re-upload. I called John, he answered. Is that the one? Yeah, I thought. So anyway, that's been all reshared. But, you know, everyone, that's the thing, the internet's forever. However, yeah, so my whole opinion on this, from what I've seen today, is all because he's had to be held accountable for some stuff. That's how I've summarized it. But as I said, his lawyer went full blown, yes, about it being violent and racist smear campaign that drove him out of office. To me, I think that's a bit of an overreaction. And it came out that allegedly he stated he was going to Google, I think, got a witness to admit that he had talked about not contesting the 2023 election anyway. He was never going to serve and to leave from the last election to the next election. He was never going to serve out a full term even before these videos. So Google at the moment is trying to mitigate the amount of money. Hi, Keno, you haven't been here for a while, been working long hours. Yeah, it's a bit, I've been a bit all over the place as well. I've just been talking about the Barilaro Google case. My concern is that this could be the start of the end of free speech. Is it true his affair has a bub on the way? That's the rumor, Cal. There's nothing that's been said about it. I mean, it's interesting because his deputy chief of staff reckons that he witnessed the physical intimidation and harassment. I swear that's the guy that contacted the fixated persons unit on Christo, who's currently in London now. So, Cal, that's the allegation. I don't know. I cannot find anything to back that up. I would like to be able to do that. But anyway. Someone else. So the comments on the other thing is that his comments, he's not, well, in that case, well done, Friendly Geordies. We all know Barilaro as a calm and passive sort, not. Now he's trying to play the victim card. Come on, mate. You're either a tough bloke or a big baby. Which is it? If all else fails, play the victim. So regardless of this video, he's getting canned. And the other thing that's happening is that Shanks's videos are getting watched again. So he's probably just given another 100,000, tomorrow they'll be complaining that there's been huge views on his videos. Well, she did tell us that reasonable people would pause the videos. That's what I did. I paused it. And that's a previous video. So that's all I really wanted to say. That was the end of day one. I mean, Google still has to do all of their stuff, but I think they wanted to get through all the witness but Bruz still has to talk about his hurt feelings. And essentially, it's about hurt feelings. This is about Barilaro not liking what was said. Reckons the other thing is that they're talking about his physical safety when Shanks hired the Airbnb and he did all this filming there. But they don't, hi Bo, but the family don't ever express concern when they have randoms there that are hiring out and paying the fee. But because Shanks filmed it and put it on YouTube, suddenly it's a security risk. And allegedly the family lives on that property somewhere. Well, they should have thought about that. I mean, hello. You can't say Shanks being there created a security risk, but you know, if you're going to pay $6,000, you can come and stay on the property. Well, it's the fox. The truth doesn't get in that. You can't let the truth stay in the way of victimization. So, well, as I said, he's going to get money. It now depends about how much money, I guess. This is, as I said, because Google cannot question him on the allegations. I think his marriage was ruined for cheating, getting caned, and once he doesn't have a plan for opening it, returning to Stardust. Yeah. So, you know, it's because of this parliamentary privilege issue. Essentially, you can't defend yourself at the moment, and so Google have said, "Yep, we will pay for this because it's so he's going to get some money." Google's just trying to mitigate the amount of money and trying to get it down a little bit by showing that his own conduct has caused a lot of this and that his own conduct is the reason why the video was made. I would like to see Chrysanthus. I'd like to see Chrysanthus. She said about the fact that Shanks hates Barilaro. I'd like to see her proof to back that up. I'd like, you know, again, is she going to claim court privilege? What a load of, here's my tiny violin I'm playing for you, John. Nobody is having sympathy for him. Nobody is having sympathy for Barilaro. Now, it's interesting that the people that they questioned almost as believable as Palmer professing he feared for his life during his spat with Mark McGowan. What tripe? No, John. Extramarital affairs, misuse of public monies, abuse of power might have been the issue. I'm sure New South Wales ICAC has nothing to do with it. So everybody is calling him out, not because of the fact of watching the video. They're calling him out because reckons he smells a payout. So everyone's calling it out because for most people, they've seen the video. They've watched the video. Second of all, they've done their own investigation. Happy to use power of government role to intimidate and steal, but when pressure of truth is applied, he turns into a yeah. So people are calling him out, and he's not going to like that either. And I'm certain that will be a complaint tomorrow. That people aren't buying it. Well, that's right. He called himself Port Barilaro. I mean, he referred to himself as a Port Barilaro and Port Barreline. So if it wasn't for this parliamentary privilege issue, Google would have taken him to the cleaners, you know. But anyway, we'll see. But as I said, they've complained about the future videos that he's done. Shanks has done. They don't like the They don't like the video they did about the online dating. So, yeah. And as I said, Helen Dalton. Cool. Yay! You've been a member for a year. Hello. Welcome. Just checking out why I have a guitar. Cool. So anyway, that is where we are with the Barilaro case. Essentially, we've heard today how poor victimized Barilaro has had a campaign of, what was it? I need to quote her. I need to quote. The violent and racist smear campaign that drove him out of public office. That is, well, you know, it's interesting because I said that I just found it was really interesting that even in that video, all of that stuff where he's talked about the fact that she's a vile human and other stuff that he said. I mean, I don't condone the actions of Friendly Geordies of what he, about being in the house and all of that. I don't condone that. I'm defending his right to be able to show evidence that there are some questions to be answered here. So, and as it was told in court, he's not a journalist and he can't be called a journalist. There's somebody because he doesn't have a journalism degree. Reminds me of somebody else. I don't. Oh dear. Oh, someone has just. Oh, somebody has just listed that Dim Tim Smith is running as a Liberal candidate, currently disguised as an independent in the federal election. Someone said that. Look, Tim Smith is currently running as a Liberal candidate, currently disguised as an independent in Victoria at the upcoming federal election. Not exactly sure what seat yet. Ooh. Dim Tim is going to be in federal politics. We're going to run as a federal politician, hey? Well, that means a lot of people can't be called journalists. But anyway, so that's where we are. Okay, so I'll try and catch it tomorrow. But it was really bizarre, What the thing that I discovered though was when they said, before the time, did he have a really good reputation? Yes. And after the videos, well, no one believed the videos. Well, hello, if no one believed the videos in the area, then you don't have a problem. But apparently he was getting people messaging his Facebook and he was getting called. Apparently, one of the complaints was people were yelling out, "Hey, Bruz," to him. Hey, Bruz. And the thing is, if anything, he should be thanking Shanks or Friendly Geordies because Friendly Geordies has taken him from a small country, regional area in Australia to international fame. Everybody knows about Bruz Barilaro. So he's been famous. So really, he should be thanking it. But anyway, I have to go. I've got to go get ready to go. I will catch you all again. I will keep you updated. If he only had a brain, he should be ashamed. He always, as I said, no one is calling him out. And for his lawyer to compare the fact she said Malcolm Turnbull didn't even live in the lodge. He lived in his own place. Yes, because he owned it. He had that house before he went into politics. And he didn't use it as a B&B to income generate, and he didn't leave it off his lists of assets, and he didn't try to change the rules for home for B&Bs without declaring the accommodation, because that's the allegation about Barilaro, is that he was trying to get the legislation changed. He hadn't declared his instance. He hadn't declared his interest. So, and that was done after the fact. So, yeah. And, you know, but anyway, and then, yeah, it just, anyway, I will catch you all later. Thank you all for joining me. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. And look, hopefully this sorry tale will be over and we'll have to find somebody else to follow and another case to pick up and see it going on. All right, bye for now.